Do you realize that the strong bounce that we've seen across the crypto market over the past few days has all happened for a reason and might just be the start of something much bigger? You see, over the next few days, we're going to see some of the biggest news announcements in the crypto markets that we have seen for years. And on top of that, the market manipulation and price suppression by Jane Street is seemingly gone. We're now starting to see various key indicators that have accurately called the bottom for Bitcoin and altcoins flashing. Could we be at the very transition point, about to see much better times for crypto? I believe we're not far away. I'm going to explain exactly what's going on in this video, so hit the like button and let's get into it. Now guys, before we unpack the major news events that are going to be hitting in the next couple of days and what they mean for the markets, as well as look into those indicators that have accurately called every single bottom being in for crypto over the past few years, just a quick disclaimer. Nothing I say in this video is financial advice. Everything I say is for entertainment purposes only. If you wish to invest in crypto, you should understand that it's risky and you can lose money. So don't risk money that you can't afford to lose, and always do your own research before investing in anything. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's crack on with it. Now guys, if you paid attention to the introduction I gave on this video, you're probably saying to yourself, you told me strong bounce. This hasn't really been a strong bounce, has it? Well, I believe that this bounce that we've seen recently is actually far more important than it might feel like it has been. You see, Bitcoin has been going down, as we know, since October time. And yes, we had this strong kind of bounce back in January time, which obviously led us to more pain, teaching us that bounces are not good. They lead to more strain and pain. And that's ultimately how markets often work. It never feels like the bottom is in until we look back in time and realize that the bottom was a few months ago. And for anyone who was involved in crypto all the way back in kind of March, April of last year, you probably know what I'm talking about, because everyone was screaming for lower prices all the way until Bitcoin got back up to here. And if you were involved in crypto after Terra Luna and FTX and whatever else, you were still hearing people calling for lower prices even until late 2023, which was obviously not the case. The bottom never feels like the bottom is in because it's always feeling like things will get worse. But we have to identify something. Over time, crypto goes up and then it goes down. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, up, down. Okay? We want to position ourselves when it's down, ready for when it goes up. And in order to do that, we have to be able to identify that the bottom's probably in, even when it feels horrible and it's going to get much worse. So the first thing I want to look at is this, and it's very straightforward. You can see the Bitcoin price on the daily chart did something very, very interesting. You see, at the start of this month, Bitcoin went all the way down to $60,000. Fear and greed index at the time was pretty scary, but actually it's got far scarier over this period of time here, which is interesting, right? Because the price of Bitcoin the other day actually went slightly higher than it had already been. That's interesting. This means that the time fatigue, the pain of being down at these levels, is more painful than the actual price moves. And I know you might be like, well, I don't hold Bitcoin, I'm holding altcoins, and the altcoins are also down bad. True, they are down bad, but a lot of altcoins have also seen significantly higher, kind of lower highs. This is Tau Potenza, just as an example here. You can see back in kind of February, it bottomed here like $144. Just the other day, it bottomed 15% higher. Okay, this is a very interesting thing. But I know I'm not going to convince you with just a couple of charts like this. So let's start to look a little bit more at key other bottoming indicators before we unpack the catalyst that can lift us towards better times. And it's important right now that we think outside the box, that we're able to think logically, rationally, away from emotion. Emotion is what captures the entire market and often aligns the market into the wrong position. I made this tweet just a couple of days ago, Peter_THOC. Make sure you give me a follow over on Twitter, where I talked about the importance of avoiding what the mass of the market are doing right now. And I referred to various key celebrity traders throughout the last 100 years or so. Like Jesse Livermore, who was a trader over 100 years ago, saying that the public is always wrong at the wrong time. Warren Buffett, still alive today, the world's most famous investor. Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. Howard Marks, you can't do the same things as others do and expect to outperform. And the list goes on. So what do they all mean? Well, they're all basically saying when everyone is feeling a certain way, the chances are that the price is likely to move in the other direction, which is why when the markets are really high and it feels great to buy, it's probably not always the best time to be buying. When the market's low and it feels horrible to buy, maybe it's a good time to be buying. But this isn't a history lesson, and we shouldn't just pay attention to a few quotes from a few famous people to know whether or not this is the time that we want to be doubling down or completely running away for good. So let's look at something that I think is going to give even the least logical, most emotional trader a little bit of confidence here as to why we've either already bottomed or we've been incredibly close to the bottom. And it's this. This purple cloud is the Bitcoin production cost. This isn't some woo-woo indicator. It is literally how much it costs to mine a Bitcoin on any given day, okay? And as you can see, there is a little bit of discrepancy in the production cost. And that makes sense, right? Because mining a Bitcoin in like Dallas, Texas, United States right now is more expensive than mining a Bitcoin in like Reykjavik in Iceland or wherever. And obviously at each and every time, there's more and more people or less people competing for Bitcoin. But you get the picture. As you can see, over time, this has pretty much marked the bottom of Bitcoin. The cloud at least provides some good support, but the actual bottom line, the very minimum it's going to cost is pretty much never really broken. And if it is broken, it is only broken for literally no more than a day or two at a time. You can see that back on the 2nd of February, we actually breached this line, which is interesting, right? We haven't breached that for a very, very long time. We didn't breach it back here when we got into this in the Japan carry trade back in August of 2024. We didn't breach it after the FTX collapse. You can see it acted as support for a good few painful, boring weeks, and then the Bitcoin price took off. We then go back all the way to pre-2020 bull market, where the production cost did creep a little bit above, and we did spend 3 or 4 weeks just below this line, literally $1,000 or so below the line. We then go back to COVID-19, where literally for about 24 hours, the price went underneath this line, okay? And then back into 2018, it did spend a couple of weeks underneath, but that's a very long time ago. In terms of the lifetime of Bitcoin, there is probably less than 1% of the entire lifetime where Bitcoin has spent its time underneath production cost. Now, the bottom line production cost for Bitcoin right now is at $61,800. Now, you can see a little bit of dip in Bitcoin production cost, and potentially this can dip a little bit further should less and less people compete to mine Bitcoin. But ultimately, over time, the production cost basically decides how much something is worth. And think about this logically for a moment. Think about gold as an item. If you want to go and buy something made of gold right now, it's expensive, okay? It costs more money to buy because lots of people are trying to buy it. But ultimately, if the price of gold came down, it would only ever come to a point at which production cost kind of came into play, right? Because people still need gold for things. And if it costs a certain amount to produce it, that will be the minimum price of gold. Okay, so even if demand drops, people still need to buy it. It's very, very rare that any particular commodity out there falls below the price of production cost. And we need to think about this, because I know people were probably way more panicked on Monday when Bitcoin came down to like 62K than they were at the beginning of the month where Bitcoin and altcoins went even lower. Okay, this time fatigue is real. It will get more and more painful should we continue to bound around in this zone. But it is important to know whether or not we're going to go significantly lower than this, like many people are saying that we will. But if the production cost remains where it is right now, then I really can't see a time the price gets pushed significantly under here for any particular length of time. And you're like, yeah, but what about the altcoins? Well, hold on a minute. This is the others chart, which is altcoins versus Bitcoin. As you can see on this, while Bitcoin has been falling, ultimately the altcoins already pretty much bottomed way back here. Okay, this was the 10-10 event. And then since then, you can see altcoins basically bottomed against Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been going down, yes, but altcoins have been going up against Bitcoin. And if you look at this chart pattern, it's only a matter of time where we eventually begin this breakout phase where you start to see altcoins really going much higher. That feels like a long way away, I know. But go across the board for altcoins. Many of them sat at record discount prices. While Bitcoin has been falling over the past kind of few months, SUI has kind of started to flatten off here. Okay, started to flatten off. Cardano clearly flattened off, bottomed out here. And this is where you get to a point where anyone who wanted to sell is already sold. No one's really left to sell in the markets anymore, meaning that the downside risk is much more minimized than the upside potential. The upside potential for Cardano would be to, just to say to that last high is like 344%. The downside potential or the downside risk to bring you down towards kind of these lows here, which we haven't seen since back in 2022, would be really, what, down 27%. The low down 27%. I personally would be happy to risk 27% to make a 344% gain, and potentially even more once we get into kind of full, more exciting times. And there's so many other things telling us that the capitulation lower, there isn't much to drive it, right? This is from check on chain liquidation volumes. You can see some of the biggest long liquidations ever have been recorded during this downside period already. This is the last bear market, okay? This is the last bear market back in 2022. We've already seen massive liquidations far bigger than that. Very, very few people are betting long right now. They're all starting to bet short. They're all anticipating the market is going to go lower. this adds catalyst for potential growth into the future. The realized losses across the market are some of the biggest realized losses that we've seen, which means that people have already bought high and then they've decided to take a loss rather than just stay in the market. If they've already sold at a loss, they're not going to sell at a loss when the market comes down lower because they're already out. That's why you've started to see long-term holders accumulating in volume, whereas short-term holders shaking out the market. It's always a very good indicator telling us that we're somewhere in and around a bottoming zone. Remember, it's never going to feel like the perfect time to buy the bottom, and you're never going to be able to capture the absolute bottom moment for crypto. Okay, so that's my argument as to why I don't think we're going to go particularly lower, any lower really, than we've already been in Bitcoin and altcoins. So let's start thinking about what could drive us higher. Okay, what out there could come in that's going to push us higher? Because we've got all these scary news events happening around the world right now that are telling us that crypto is going to keep going lower. But remember, most people have already panic sold who wanted to panic sell. Most people will now start to accumulate. But we might want to start thinking about some catalysts that are going to push money back into the crypto markets. So here they are. Let's start with this one. This comes from Psychedelic over on Twitter, who's basically put a few charts together, key charts that all make sense. Again, not woo charts, just normal charts, everyday charts. The price of copper, the price of Bitcoin, the price of gold, and the ISM, which is effectively the manufacturing index. Now, historically, these all align perfectly. Now, here's why the price of copper is really important. When the global market is doing really well, lots of people have got lots of money, right? What do you do when you've got lots of money? You can buy a new car, you can buy a new TV, you can buy new things, you can build a new house, do whatever you do. All of that requires copper wiring, copper elements, things like that. Price of copper goes up when the economy is going well, it's going strongly, okay? In the past, we have seen economies doing well. Typically, crypto does well. You can see price of copper goes up, Bitcoin goes up. When the economy starts to do well and become stronger, you start to see gold cooling off a bit. And it does this for a reason. People become more and more confident in the economy. Gold typically is something you buy when you don't have so much confidence in the economy anymore. We've seen a lot of rallying into uncertainty, but gold starts to top out. And after gold starts to top out, it tends to go flat for a bit. And when it's going flat, that's when you start to see copper going up, Bitcoin going up. And this is all caused because of the ISM, manufacturing. More and more manufacturing happens in good bullish markets. If you are a house builder as a company right now, you're not going to go and build a ton of houses if you think that you're heading into a recession, because that'd be dumb, wouldn't it? You wait until you think the economy is going to have a big push, a big boost, you start to build houses. It's a good forward-looking indicator that the economy is going to get stronger. When the economy is strong, Bitcoin does well. So why is the economy doing well right now? What's going on with the ISM? And here's another thing to pay attention to, which is actually also showing us a very key indicator that the economy is returning to strength. We're not going into recession like people are calling. We're going into stronger markets globally. And here's another forward-facing indicator. The white line is the ISM, the manufacturing index, right? Which is what crypto is loosely following. Altcoin season traditionally has happened because ISM is rising significantly. Now, the orange line is South Korea exports. Let me explain. This might seem a bit off, a bit weird. Why am I talking about South Korean exports? Well, because 58% of South Korea's economy comes from exports. Right now, they produce things like semiconductors, electronic components, machinery, petrochemicals, intermediate goods. They send a lot of this stuff to the United States, to China, to Europe, etc. So when other countries around the world are manufacturing and building and growing, the exports in Korea start to do really well, and Korea as a country starts to make lots of money. As you can see, the Korean exports have been going through the roof, which are a forward-running indicator that the ISM is beginning to grow. The ISM is one of the major announcements that we're going to see happen early next week. A strong ISM figure of around 56 or higher could be expected, and that would then indicate, again, risk-on situation is coming towards us. Korea is sometimes called the canary in the coal mine for the economy because its exports are so big, right? So it's basically saying if the Korean market is weakening, we should be a bit panicked, a bit worried about what's happening. But it's doing the very opposite. It is booming right now. It is booming as an indicator that the rest of the world is beginning to boom. So why are we seeing all these boom years coming? Well, because a lot of countries around the world have already begun stimulating their economy. They've begun printing money, okay? Printing money, easing, starting to inject funds back into their economy. And guess who else is doing this? One that we've been talking about all along as being the key impact player here. The United States Federal Reserve will start to introduce T-bills. Now, these T-bills effectively do the exact same thing as quantitative easing. This is what drove the bull market back after COVID. Around $2.5 trillion of quantitative easing came into the markets and created a lot of liquidity in the space. A lot of ordinary people started to get more money. And these T-bills are no different. This comes from the Home Treasury website, which you can go and check out if you want, and originally was shown to me by Marty Party over on Twitter. Now, all of these bills tell us something absolutely crazy. And I use Grok to help me understand what these are basically telling us. They're showing us that in the next few months, between February the 9th and August the 4th, you can expect to see somewhere around $12.6 trillion being injected into the US economy. This is based off of estimations over the past few months of various different T-bill injections. Okay, you can check this out. You can go and read these T-bill notes if you want, basically these different bills and what they all mean in terms of the average supply. Over the next few months, you're going to see billions and billions of dollars added back into the economy, about $100 billion a week. $12 billion is around 2.5 times bigger than the injection of capital that happened back during COVID. This is insane, okay? This is what is going to drive this market forward. And this all comes at a time that a very key major announcement is coming literally 3 or 4 days away. And if you want to prepare for that major announcement and what it probably means, given that all this liquidity is flooding into the market right now and it is going to find its way into crypto more easily through what I'm about to tell you, then make sure you check out BTCC. It's linked down below in the description. You can get up to a 10% bonus on first-time deposits, which is pretty cool because the Bitcoin price right now is around 10% higher than it was at the absolute low the other day. So if you want to buy at that discounted price, then all you got to do is sign up for a BTCC account through the link down below, and you can get yourself a 10% deposit bonus. On top of that, if you go across to the benefits, you can also earn lots of different cash rewards, which makes absolute sense, especially in a time in the market like this. All you got to do is carry out various different things, register, add a spot trade, copy trading, all these different things you can go and participate in, and you can go and earn thousands and thousands of dollars in rewards, absolutely free. This is something I first did when I got into crypto, basically earning rewards wherever I could, especially when the market was down, and it gave me the opportunity to be able to make a lot more money when the market started to recover. So make sure you sign up for the BTCC link down below to go and check out this cool offer where you can earn up to $30,000 and 10% deposit bonuses as well. Now, why is all this liquidity such an exciting and important thing that's happening in the market right now? How is it going to find its way into crypto because it never used to before, blah, blah, blah? Well, because of this. Well, because over the next few days or so, we're going to hear back about the Crypto Clarity Act. Now, what is the Crypto Clarity Act? It's basically a bill from the United States government that makes it clear on what's a security and what's not. It makes it clear on how investments work and on legitimizing rules and all the various different rules on investing into the market. It's also something that's going to stop massive market manipulation, like what was caused by Jane Street over the past few months, to occur in future and give much more confidence to banks, institutions to be able to inject more capital into this market. There is a lot of money right now sidelined waiting to enter into the market that is reliant on the Clarity Act going through. Now, because the Clarity Act has been shut down a few times before and they've not managed to get it through, it tells us something. It tells us that this is not 100% guaranteed to go through over the next few days. And in fact, the market's probably not expecting it to go through. But if it goes through, guess what? It's a major catalyst and you will see prices pushing higher quite quickly, in my opinion. So ultimately, this is what I'm looking at. The crypto market appears to have got as low as it really can go based on production costs, based on the interest from retail investors, based on everyone. And yes, there is the potential that we stay stuck in and around ranging in this zone for a little while longer. But ultimately, the thing that has always driven crypto markets isn't a calendar at all. It isn't someone on Twitter. It isn't anything other than simply liquidity. Crypto has always been driven by liquidity. When there is positive liquidity flows, eventually it goes up. When liquidity removed from the market, crypto goes down. We have seen tight liquidity over the past few years, which has stifled the growth of crypto. Add to that market manipulation and lots of other factors. Okay, but ultimately, crypto is maturing into a very exciting thing, and we are still theoretically relatively early in that journey. I'm personally happy to be positioned, anticipating that we might not see lower prices here, but we could see significantly higher prices. And if we do see a little bit lower, I'm okay to hold and get round to seeing better times. Now, guys, if you made it this far through the video, do me a favor, hit the like button. Leave me a comment down below whether you've got anything to say or not. Let me know whether this has been useful, whether you have more insight about what's going on. Are you still fearful of lower prices? Are you still waiting to buy? What is going to be your eventual price that you get in at? What's going to convince you that suddenly this is the right time to buy? Let me know down below. Guys, have a great weekend wherever you are. Hope you enjoyed it. See you again. Bye-bye.